This is a recording of the special meeting of the Lake Lakewood Board held on August 28th, 2014.
This is a board meeting. You can't have a general meeting unless you invite people 3 weeks in advance and share the agenda and things like that. So this is a board meeting. We're not here to take any votes or come to any conclusions. We're here to hear everybody's concerns and hopefully come to one or two or three things that we might be able to put on the agenda for the annual meeting so we can vote on them, and that's at the end of October. My thought as leader of the board is that there's lots of people with lots of opinions, and the board is full of people with great ideas and strong opinions, but if those ideas and opinions aren't appealing to the membership, then it doesn't do any good to argue them out and put them on the ballot. So my goal tonight is to hear lots of concerns, and if people have ideas for how to take care of some of those concerns, it would be great to get those going. But the main thing is to hear what people think about the idea that has been floated. I should be really clear. Right now, there is no offer. Right? Turlu hasn't said, here's what I want, and you have to do it. That's not true?
No.
There's a specific offer?
Yeah.
Okay. That's okay. Well,
but that's as of last week.
Okay. This is what I heard. Okay.
Is it in writing?
No.
Okay. Is it verbal?
So,
Yeah.
I'm going to let Dick fill us in because he's actually talked to Turlu a whole bunch.
Yeah. The board 4 or 5 months ago appointed a committee of 3 people to begin opening the door with the Bradys as to what they may be doing with their property. It's a sensitive subject. It's their property. They can do with it what they want. And of course, it comes at this time because Joe is now dead. Turlu's 92, and it's a little touchy to be talking to her about, Turlu, why don't you die so we can, do something with your property. She has spent a great deal of time with her son and daughter, who grew up here, and they have done a whole lot of research and a lot of soul searching to determine what they want for the property. They, as you know, have a great deal of history with the place. They care about it deeply, and so they put a tremendous amount of thought into it. The current proposal is the second go-around with them. We developed one proposal in which she would gift just the water portion of their property to the association.
Can you guys hear? Because we can scoot over, because I have a feeling. Can you hear over there? Debbie?
I can try to speak up.
We just scoot.
I have a soft voice.
So we can.
Yeah, I can give up a seat too. Come over here and sit.
Come sit. Let's get everybody in here. Hello.
Get on it.
Hi, Mary.
I don't know if you can hear, so I want to make sure everybody can hear.
Right.
Sorry, Dick. I just thought maybe.
Oh my God!
What you're saying is really important.
I thought you were dead.
No such luck, Austin.
I've been writing him emails and he never responds.
He put me in charge.
You're not dead.
I am too, I think.
Okay.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
It's all right. No, it's good. So,
You want to come in closer?
that proposal, they involved a great deal of expense that would have to happen to split the lot, to process it through the city of Walnut Creek. There was engineering and surveying, and it turned out that it was going to cost about $40,000 just in cost to get that done. But most of all, it was going to be a big hassle for Turlu, and she did not want to drag it through that lengthy process with the city. So she met with her kids, and they rethought it, and rather than just deal with the water portion of their property, they propose to sell the entirety of their holdings except for the lot that Turlu lives on for $50,000. There are a couple of strings on that. One is that Turlu does not want anyone to be using the property for as long as she lives in her home. She's 92 years old. She's lived there since 1953.
And she's still perky.
Yeah, she sure is. And they enjoy their privacy, and the thought to her of people traveling in and out of there without her permission is just not something that she wants to put up with in the last days of her life. So she has put a stipulation on it that despite the fact that the association would own the property, that we would not have free access to it until after she no longer lives in her house.
Yeah, so my understanding is once she dies, then it reverts to
Well, no, we would own it.
lake property.
No, we would purchase the property outright.
Yeah.
So we would own it, but she would have the right to control the use of it.
Okay, but then that right dies with her.
Well, as long as she
Or she moves
it's
away.
not death. It's just as long as she's not living in the house. She may move away,
Okay.
or she may die. Either way, she will control who goes in there and who doesn't. Of course, maintenance and all the other stuff's not a problem. She'll just, all she asks is that we let her know that we're going in there to do some maintenance, and she's good with it. The other stipulation is that the board restrict, or rather the deed to the property would have a reservation clause in it, such that if ever we should use the land portion of their property for development, that it would revert back to her family. She wants the property to be an open space, a refuge, a wildlands kind of area, the way that it always has been, and she does not want to be responsible, I think, in her moral sense, for allowing development there.
Can I ask a question about that? Would it be ever able to have another little small beach over there?
Yeah,
Would she be open to that?
No,
Yeah,
I got no buildings from what you
Yeah,
said.
what she's really wants to avoid is homes.
Okay, yeah, but a small beach that would
Yeah, I think-
also.
Yeah, what we would be working into the reservation clause is that the board would be precluded, or if ever the board were to allow construction of homes on the property or any other, commercial structure, that it would then revert. With respect to the potential development of that property, it's a oddly configured piece of land, but it has a lot of square footage to it. We live in the city of Walnut Creek. The city of Walnut Creek this year has approved 1,700 low-cost housing units in high density developments. And it's my personal opinion that they would love the opportunity for a developer to buy that piece and give us about probably 15 high-density, low-cost housing units for which the state of Sacramento will cut them a check. The state has decided we have a housing crisis, and cities that promote and allow high-density construction, like you've seen at Civic and Ignacio and all around town, they literally get a check for that, for doing it from the state. So it's lucrative for the city to do it. I think they're solidly behind that program. They get all kinds of awards for doing it, and they think they're doing a great favor to mankind, and I don't think it would bother them a bit to approve many low-cost housing units on that weirdly shaped piece of property. The other thing that a developer would do with that is to fill it. It's filling now with silt. A developer would simply let that happen, would put a culvert in a pipe to take care of the runoff probably to the lake border to the boundary, and fill the rest of it and put a whole bunch of houses in there. We fought that fight in 1958 and won, but I'll tell you, in 2014, it's my personal opinion that the city of Walnut Creek would love to use the property to satisfy their low-cost housing needs in the town, again, for which they get a check. That is probably the highest and best use of the property, and one that would take some time to happen. But I think in this city and this time, it's not realistic to say it would never happen. They're doing it all over the place. Our choice is to work with the Bradys and acquire the property, or to not work with the Bradys. My sense is that they will simply say thank you very much. The property will pass with Turaloo to her son and daughter. they will do with it whatever they want to do. They do not have the same sensibility of the lake and the neighborhood that Turlough has. They lived here, but, you know, Joey's a banker in Reno. Tui is a lawyer in another state. She's in Nicaragua a lot. And so you know, what they would do with the property, I think, is maximize their return on it. And no one here would blame them for doing that. I mean, they own the property, they do with it what people do with property. So we have the opportunity to work with Turlough, who was really kind of reached out into the future and in a very responsible way and in an extremely generous way offered to deed the property to the association. Now,
Excuse me, with what provision?
with two caveats. One is that we can't develop the property, and the other is that the use will still be controlled by Turlough for as long as she lives in the house, and that's it. Just those are the two strings.
But not after somebody else lives in the house.
No,
only when
just her. Just her. Which is a different term, than what the earlier proposal had been. So, you know, in a very finite way, this is not an arm's length transaction with a seller of real property. This is a proposal from a neighbor who's actually the longest living neighbor in the area. I hate to say it, but I'm number 2.
I'm number 3.
Number 3. Let's stick together, Brady.
I tried.
I don't want to be number 1, and neither do you. So you know, this is not a situation where everybody lawyers up and we get comps and we start dickering on what the value of the property is.
It's 1.3 acres
including
Lakewood,
the water.
Including the water.
Yeah.
It's worth way more than $50,000.
Well, certainly to a developer, and these days with the city's pro-development thing, you know, land like that is worth a function of what you can put on it. And so the more stuff you can put on it, the more valuable it is. And I think it's easy to say that 50,000 is one heck of a bargain. We were in the earlier proposal, which still had some other problems to work out and you know, wasn't anywhere near completion. We were looking at 40,000 to pay all the costs and things that were associated with that. The property, as you all know, is silted in, which is a cyclical kind of event. What will happen when it rains hard is that all that silt will get washed into the rest of the lake like it always does. And then in lighter rain years, it'll build up again.
I suggest that given how much grass and trees are growing into some of the silted material, it's not going to move as much unless there's a huge rain.
Well, and I think over the years, Scott, you've seen that's what happens.
Yeah,
you know,
right,
I mean, it slowly grows that way.
Right.
But we need to deal with that, what's been called Brady's Island. There are people that want her to spend her money doing that now before she essentially gives us the property. Pardon me, but I think that's obscenely rude to suggest to her that the gift that she's proposed is not enough and she should do a whole lot more.
She should sell it to us for $70,000 and we should ask for $20,000 to do the dredging or something.
You know, she's not a wealthy woman. I mean, you're dealing with the funds that she lives on, and you know, I'm sorry, I just get embarrassed when people suggest that we should make her do more. Certainly.
Question. So if we're a non-profit organization, can't she make a big donation of the Cove?
You're confusing 501c3 with nonprofit. She can't deduct anything that she gives us.
She donates to their.
Yeah, it's not like giving to a church.
Okay.
Lakewood Church.
So certainly, if the membership approves this proposal, we will at some point deal with Brady's Island. There's been a number of ideas expressed from hiring a backhoe and scraping the dirt out and spreading it out on the rest of the dry land. There's some places there that are kind of low-lying that could be filled. It could be spread out thinly across the property. what we're looking at though is a cyclical event. So if we should scoop all this silt out, it's going to silt in again. And the only saving grace is the silt that we're taking out is the same silt that would be spread out over here, and it's a whole lot easier to get it out over there than it is to lower the lake level and do the dredging and stuff here. But it's an inevitability. It's the nature of the property. It's always done that since 1910, and it'll continue to do it. That's the feature of the lake and a feature of the property. So I think the condition is exactly what we've seen over the years, and it will come and it'll go, and that's just the way the thing operates. With respect to the costs of the transaction and the taxes involved in it and that kind of thing, we will pay a transaction tax of, I believe it's $1.10 per $1,000 of the transaction, so 50 times $1.10. We'll pay to record the deed. If it's 2 pages, it'll be $12 for the first page and $4 for the second. The deed is easy to write because we already have the description of the land. It's a separate lot already. I can write the deed, and Tui, her daughter, can sign off on it, and so we don't have any legal expenses. After the money changes hands, we simply take it to the recorder and record it. We pay the fee. The property tax on that piece will be a small percentage of the $50,000 purchase price. And then it will go up in the same fashion that all our properties go up, not to exceed 1% a year. And so we will incur the additional expense of the property tax for that one parcel on an annual basis. But it's not a lot of money, and at least not yet, who knows. And one thing that we might well want to do one of these days is to merge that parcel with the other parcel that we own, so that when there is a parcel tax, we only pay one instead of two.
Good point.
That doesn't need to be done right away, but I think to be responsible with the people's money, we need to look at doing something like that.
Is the other parcel at the other end?
It's the rest of the property.
Oh, I see.
An earlier board did that. There were about 5 parcels at one time, and when it became fashionable to do parcel taxes, the board realized, gee, we need to consolidate all this, so we petitioned the county, and that was all done. So we only have, just this one.
Okay.
No, we've got 3.
Do we have 3?
We have the well house.
Oh, that's right.
And the section of land over there is the third parcel.
Yeah, because that's a potential lot over there, and the other one's not contiguous, so it can't be put in together.
Have you met with her heirs about their feelings in this matter?
I've met with Tui.
Okay.
Her daughter. Yeah, Joe has not been down to talk about it, but we've talked to Tui about it, and they feel pretty good about it. What they're really doing is they're trying to make their mom happy.
Yeah.
The hassle factor of the earlier proposal, which was frankly a whole lot better for the kids, because they would have inherited.
Wait.
Yeah, sorry. Hey, cut that out.
We need trees.
The earlier proposal was far better for Tui and Joe, because they would have inherited the dry land. And when they saw the hassle that their mom was going to be going through to make the lot split happen, they said, Mom, it's just not worth it. We don't want to put you through that.
Right.
We'll give up the value of the land, just sell it to them for a price that you agreed on, and make yourself happy, and that's what counts.
So her house is a separate parcel?
Yes, her house is separate. And the rest of the Brady holdings are the other lot. And that, in essence, is the proposal. I'm happy to answer any questions that I can answer. I don't know all the answers, but
What was the price?
$50,000.
Yeah, and can I add
Plus
to the
expenses of
couple things that
about
Connie
100.
asked me to add?
Yeah.
So Connie wanted to hear.
Dollars.
So
$100,000.
she said there was 3 or 4 ideas, and Dawn as well called us about some ideas about the financing. So I just want to sort of put them out so they're in your heads, which is where you could buy it with all the money we've saved, that we save, in fact, to do something like this, which is at, I don't know how much we have.
52,000.
We have 52.